Hello, this is Rebecca, and today we're going to talk about writing a contrast essay. This is about differences between two things, and I will be showing you both point by point and block structure. Do you know what this map and symbol represent? I don't mean the whole map, I mean the yellow part of the map here. And what about these? Again, not the whole map, just the green part. Well, you may know that the first one was the Holy Roman Empire, which lasted from the 9th to the 19th centuries. And the second was the Ottoman Empire, which lasted from the 13th to the 20th centuries. And in today's lesson, we're going to be contrasting these two powerful historical empires. Now, you might be thinking, hey, just wait a cotton-picking minute. How am I supposed to write an essay like that in an exam? I don't know enough about history to have all those details that I need. And my answer is, you're right. You can't write about a topic that you don't know about for prep school essays, usually. But you will not always be writing prep school essays. Before long, you will be doing work that requires research before writing. You will still need to organize your ideas with an outline or a mind map, but the brainstorming will be partially done with research. So, let's continue. Here's the symbol for the Holy Roman Empire, and this is for the Ottoman Empire. And from my research, I learned that these two empires differed in a couple important ways. First of all, in terms of administration, which means who owns the lands. They are both very big areas of land. Who owned all the land in that area? How were taxes paid? And who made decisions at the local levels? Another way they were different is in terms of succession. This means how a ruler is chosen, who gets to choose the ruler, and who is allowed to be a ruler. So in these two ways, these two empires are very different. I decided to use administration and succession as my two subtopics, and my mind map looks like this. So this is for body 1, and this one is for body 2, and I have administration is my first subtopic, and succession is my second subtopic. This is a point-by-point structure. So each body paragraph is about one subtopic. And then each one also has two supporting ideas and some details. And you can see that the supporting ideas here and the supporting ideas here are the same. And you can see that the details for each one are slightly different. That's because this is a contrast essay. We're trying to show how these things are different from each other. Your details, whatever type of essay you are writing, Your details should all be clear before you start writing. Sometimes students will choose their subtopics and their two supporting ideas and say, oh, I'll think of the details after I start writing. No. Have some notes for all of your details before you start writing full paragraphs. Okay, let's look at the essay. Start, of course, with an introduction. We have a general sentence on the topic. Human history is full of great empires and the engaging stories they provide. Next, I want to introduce the two things that will be contrasted. Two of the most recent of these great empires were two rivals, the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire. And now I have my thesis statement. Even though these two empires were contemporaries, and contemporary means they existed at the same time, even though these two empires were contemporaries, they had notable differences in terms of administration and succession. There's many ways that you could write this thesis statement. So, what will the topic for the first body paragraph be? And what will the two supporting ideas be? Do you remember? Body 1 is about administration. And of course, we start with a topic sentence, which mentions the two topics, the essay type, and then one subtopic. The first difference between the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire is about administration. Then we go on to our first supporting idea, which is the Holy Roman Empire. Firstly, the Holy Roman Empire was a feudal empire. The land was divided into small regions called vassal states that were controlled by rulers such as counts, dukes, or kings. These rulers were largely independent from the emperor, and their lands and titles were hereditary, meaning they passed from father to son. The Holy Roman Empire emperor had no input in the administration of his vassal states. So that's the end of the first supporting idea, and then we're going to start the second supporting idea with the Ottoman Empire. And notice that I'm starting with a contrast phrase that is used to transition from the first to the second supporting idea, because this is a contrast essay, and we want to emphasize that. Unlike their Western counterpart, the Ottoman Empire used imperial administration. All the land belonged to the Ottoman Sultan and his sons. The Sultan himself appointed bureaucrats to administer the widespread areas of his realm, and he could replace these people whenever he wanted. In brief, there was a huge difference between the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire and their approaches to administration. Yes, I have put a conclusion sentence here at the end of the first body. This is not required. It is completely optional. It is used sometimes when you just want to remind your reader exactly what you're talking about, because we've gone into a lot of little details, and so we want to remind our reader that we are talking about administration. So what will the topic for the next body paragraph be? And what will the two supporting ideas be? Hopefully those are easy questions for you to answer. Body 2 is about succession. And we're going to have the same two supporting ideas, the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire. So we start with our topic sentence again. The second difference between the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire is their succession laws. And here we go with our first supporting idea. To begin with, the title of Holy Roman Emperor was an elective title. When an emperor died, either 7 or 8 electors came together to choose the next king of the Germans. Sometimes the new emperor wasn't the son of the previous emperor. Moreover, Holy Roman emperors usually needed the approval of the Pope to call themselves emperor. That's the end of that section. And now we're going to the second supporting section. And again, we're using a contrast phrase to transition to the second supporting idea. In contrast, Ottoman Empire succession was completely hereditary. When an emperor died, one of his sons would become the next emperor, but it wasn't required that he be the eldest. For a few centuries, this led to a lot of fighting between brothers. Later, the Ottomans adopted a seniority succession law so that the eldest male members of the family, who was also sane, inherited the empire. You'll see here, I didn't put a body paragraph concluding sentence because I'm so close to the conclusion, I really don't need it at all. So now, conclusion. First sentence is restating the thesis statement. To conclude, their administrative and successional systems were two major differences between the Holy Roman Empire and the Ottoman Empire. And then a final comment. Humanity can only hope that empires and imperialism are concepts of the past, for they mostly brought war and destruction rather than peace and prosperity. So that was the point-by-point structure. But do you prefer block style? Let's take a look at the mind map in a block style structure. And you'll see that at the top level here, it's very different. We no longer have administration and succession. Now we have Holy Roman Empire and Ottoman Empire. Block style organizes the body paragraphs by the two things being compared. Contrasted. In this case, they're being contrasted. And the subtopics are used as the body supporting ideas. So these are our subtopics from our thesis statement, and they're the supporting ideas in the body paragraphs. The brainstorming and the details are all the same. They're just organized differently. And your introduction, your thesis statement, and your conclusion are going to be exactly the same for point-by-point and block style. It doesn't matter which way you choose as long as you keep to the right structure throughout your essay. So, just one last thing. When you're doing writing practice, you don't always have to write a full essay. Sometimes it can help to focus on one part or another to work in a different way. So here are some ideas. Choose 2 or 3 different topics and just do the brainstorming, thesis statement, and outline with the details. So this helps you practice organizing your ideas and getting them in a good structure. This will help you do it more effectively under time pressure. Or you could try to choose 2 or 3 different topics and focus on sentence level writing using cause effect or compare contrast language. Or you could write just one body paragraph, focusing on explaining the details more deeply. Remember, the body paragraph is the meat of your hamburger, so make it good. That's it for this lesson. See you in the next one.